And he has the figure of someone who may or may not partake in the wacky tobacco.
RI Free Radio, or what was that? What was it? Your near modeling gig, Tony? Who are we representing today?
Oh, that was I had a request from a fine publication called Guys and Fries.
So, Dave, give us kind of an overview. Some of the vendors we see, some of the vendors here on the list today.
Well,
this is geared heavily towards the medical side of the question.
Yeah, it is geared towards the medical aspect of cannabis. Certainly, people here representing the indoor and outdoor growing scenes. There are doctors, there are lawyers, a lot of folks here who are selling, I guess, what was heretofore known as paraphernalia. Paraphernalia.
Maybe you could have
guys, for a second. We're on the internet now.
Maybe we or you could have an official paraphernalia sponsor.
We will see one out today.
The official water pipe of the coalition. No, I think if we're gonna do it, we got to step it up. We got to go vape, man. We got to do the vapor. It's just healthier, and
So in our merch, we're gonna have a coalition radio bong.
Why not, right?
I mean, guys, we're on the internet. This is like we can actually have a reasonable discussion without having to mince words, as they say.
Now, the nomenclature is everything, and I think that folks in the cannabis legalization and medical cannabis movement would not have us call it a bong. They would probably call it a water filtration device or something like that. We're trying to step it up and be a little bit more respectable here. So
now, if you're tuning in now and you're on the cusp of thinking maybe I'll head down to the con, maybe I won't, and I'll say this in the most respectful manner possible, there are a lot of fine young ladies here at the cannabis convention this afternoon.
I will definitely second that.
Yes, the view from inside the convention center is rather nice, even though there are no windows.
Well, that's why we do this. We've taken residents up at Halfway Tree Cafe / Fat Squirrel on a number of occasions, purely to be an educational resource and to disseminate information about various issues at hand, right?
Of course, and to scope out possible partners who enjoy soft drugs.
Right, and those videos you found in your home when you were 13, those were educational in nature.
Exactly. Most of what I know about women I learned from those videos.
I am in sheer amazement with his ability to say that not only as quickly and succinctly as he has, but with a straight face.
Well, everybody's busy, and a lot of folks can't make it out to things like this on the regular basis, so we'll provide the coverage, possibly the PO taxpayer and I work a combined work week of about 225 hours between the two of us. So,
and although I'm not only partially employed at this point, Pat certainly keeps me busy updating the website and changing small things about sheets and ad rates that really shouldn't matter. But, at 1:30 in the morning, it's really no big deal.
Are you saying I'm a little obsessive?
Mildly, yes, mildly.
Well, by the way, speaking of that, let's go down the road. Where can you find a variety of advertising? I'm sitting here with our good friend DJ Psychoetti. Where can we find DJ Psychoetti on the web?
On the web, I am at rifreeradio.com.
.org.
.org. Sorry about that. I get the .coms and the .org.
Don't make them for profit.
Sorry, rifreeradio.org. I'm also on My Night Out Radio. My Night Out Radio. MyNightOutRI.com. Facebook, Twitter, and if you're lucky, I shower at 9 o'clock on a Friday night.
Excellent.
Which, one of the things
whether he needs it or not.
One of the things we kind of brought up in a recent episode of My Night Out Radio was the fact that the potential of cannabis legalization is going to have a huge impact on one of the few growing economic segments in Rhode Island, which is our awesome, fine, and now since we're on the internet, kick-ass hospitality industry, possibly over the next couple of years.
Hospitality is going to see a boom. The secondary markets like the snack food industry, the bakeries.
Well, we're keeping those going.
Oh, I do my part to keep them in as much business as possible. Even just the average food truck will see a boom in industry because of the legalization.
All right, let's be honest. At the Olneyville, at a certain spot in Olneyville, there'll be the Department of Economic Development in our fine federal government in Washington will note a certain spectacular spike, if you will.
In spikes.
in a number of things. One of which will be economic activity. Hey, coalitionradio.us, facebook.com/the Coalition Radio, on the mighty, mighty Twitter at coalition_radio. Tony, where can we find RI Free Radio and the Tony Jones Show?
RIFreeRadio.org, and we're trying to become an omni-media, a multimedia clearinghouse. So we have the blog content. You can access content on demand, podcasts. All the shows are up there in perpetuity. So if you want to go back and listen to the first Coalition, a time before P.O. Taxpayer had hit puberty, his voice sounds quite different than it does today. But it's interesting to kind of look at the archives and see some of the shows grow and the guests they brought in, the musical aspects they play. Everything is archived in perpetuity up until we start running out of space, and then you're going to have to download some of those older shows. But for now, we have thousands of hours of content for you. If you're a traveler, if you're hitting the road this summer, you don't want to listen to terrestrial radio, or you don't want to, you go through the town line, you got to find some different stations. Just download a bunch of podcasts. There's a huge growing podcast scene here, and we've been on the cusp of that.
And I got to say, one of the best things about our podcasts, about all of our websites, is the fact that you don't need an app.
Right.
To listen to our podcast on your tablet, on your mobile device. You can point your browser right to rifreeradio.org. The music starts playing right away. You don't have to download anything. It's just right there for you. Everybody's got a million different apps on their phone, and the last thing you want to do is actually have to download another to listen to your favorite podcast or to discover new podcasts. It's right out there for everybody to hear.
Which is intentional, by the way, because we want, I think the latest number I saw was only 20% of people use streaming media at this point. And we kind of want to be a place where if you're new to streaming media, you're new to podcasts, you're new to the content, you can kind of get right on RI Free Radio or coalitionradio.us and kind of get the content immediately and start listening and kind of get into what we're doing,
Well, I mean, can we all agree on one thing? And we agree on a lot of things, but one thing is sure: terrestrial radio sucks. All right, and on every single level,
except for Saturday nights at 6 on WPRO 6:30 a.m. and 99.7.
That's when
FM.
You can get a psychic reading from Myrna Lamb, right?
Right. No. It would be extraordinarily psychic at this point. All right, but. Terrestrial radio just is terrible. The same tired crap, the same tired music. Listen, you go to the Tony Jones Show and download some of that, you're going to see rockabilly, psychobilly, death metal, punk, all the stuff you're dying to hear. There's a wonderful world of music out there that corporate radio is just never going to let you be a part of because they haven't figured out a way, as Vincent A. Buddy Cianci puts it, make any scuttle off it. So, you've got that. Now, Dave, I mean, on the Coalition, do we have the normal run-of-the-mill guests? And if we have someone who's famous, do we treat them the same way that regular talk radio does?
No, we come at politics and issues from outside of the political mainstream. As a member of the Green Party myself and Pat as a libertarian, we're kind of on the outside looking in as far as politics goes. I had the pleasure to be on Tony's show a couple of weeks back down in broadcasting out of lovely downtown West Warwick.
And where else could we go from a conversation about Skefonomics to local punk rock?
Well, one of the best things I love about Tony's show is just the focus on local music here in Rhode Island, music with local connections. You can't get this stuff in the national music scene. It's just not out there. There's so many great local bands, and Tony takes it upon himself to feature those bands. These are young kids, up-and-coming musicians who have the potential to be the next big thing. So, you can hear them on RI Free Radio before they are the next big thing.
And by the way, Dave and I are both recovering musicians, so...
Wait a minute. I want you to know that I was a trombone player both in high school and college bands.
Was that a rusty trombone?
Both.
Only slightly.
All right? I was in the band, too. Okay?
Well, I got to say, and it's just something that you guys just brought up, why does the type of music you listen to have to do with anything with your views on politics or even just wanting to be informed on the politics?
Well, I think your adventurousness in politics, if you will, also transcends nicely into your music. We're probably the only radio show on AM radio whose theme song is either Public Enemy or a certain punk group called Anti-Flag. Fair statement?
Yeah, I mean, there are other guys out there walking down the sunny side of the street every afternoon.
Blowing smoke up the sunny side of some.
Which, hey, it's a fine enough song. It's a nice version of the song. My taste certainly, I would qualify them as eclectic. On any given day, I'd be listening to jazz or Americana or punk rock. I loved that like late 80s, early 90s hip hop. That was kind of when I came of age. Bands like the Cro-Mags, the Dead Kennedys, this big straight edge movement, the 7 Seconds. I love that kind of punk.
Yeah, I think political punk, is always going to have its place, and it's been interesting to see kind of, the talk and rock format coming of age, and we're seeing that a little bit with the Coalition, and you guys talking to bands like Anti-Flag, and kind of, you're not going to hear that, what we in the biz call buffer music from anybody else. I had the opportunity to interview Michael Graves every once in a while when he has new projects, ex-singer of the Misfits, and he also leans kind of political punk, and it's kind of great to see that scene growing with technology just continuing to flourish. And like I said, Rhode Island has become a growing podcast scene, and I think we're going to see people continuing to turn towards media like this. And I kind of joked earlier that if I spilled my coffee, all of my worldly possessions are on this table right now, but it's a really streamlined process. I got everything down here. We were set up and we were ready to go, and we're going to be with you tonight until 4 o'clock.
We are radio in a glass. Break glass, instant radio. Pull lever.
Just add water.
Just add water and stir. Or tequila. Or a fine
just add
bourbon.
Gansett.
Not here. It's $6.
Exactly. But Dave came up with a genius way to encapsulate the attitude of the Coalition, RI Free Radio, the Tony Jones Show. We call it civilly disobedient radio. Not only do we monitor civil disobedience, we facilitate it, we encourage it, we want to be part of it. Just a few weeks ago during the Black Lives Matter protests, we weren't sitting there on the sidelines afar, safe next to our little Econoline vans or our black Suburbans.
Says free candy on the side.
All right. We were actually in Dave Fisher was covering it from within the protest. Now, we've got youth groups from the city appearing live on our show to actually discuss the day-to-day impact of anything from stop and frisk, or what do we call them now, the jump out boys, on their day-to-day life and how they feel about growing up in a city where they are presumed guilty until, in one stretch or another, found innocent, if ever at all.
And not only are Dave and I recovering musicians, but we're also both recovering candidates. So we've been on both sides of the microphone, as it were.
Well, and I've kind of figured out over the past, almost 2 years now since I unsuccessfully ran for mayor of Woonsocket. I'm better off on the other side of the campaign because my predilection to not suffer fools gladly. Doesn't work out too well from the candidate's perspective.
Well, there is the other issue. Restraining orders are a lot easier to observe if you don't have to work 10 feet away from the person.
That's right.
Yeah. If you happen to be running a website that's Recall Lisa Baldelli, and you actually work in the office next to her, that can be problematical in terms of the workplace culture.
It makes it a little bit. There's a little friction there.
Or while getting while getting your news content from GoLoco.
GoLoco, LOCOPROV, GoLoco.prov.com.
And by the way, if
all
you
your news.
Go to GoLocoProv.com. You might be surprised what you find.
you will probably be very surprised if you.
Because amongst other things, we are a serial website domain. There's a couple.
So if you're out there thinking about starting a business or running a political campaign, folks, buy up every domain name you could possibly think of that could be associated with you and your business, and we will exploit that to your non-benefit.
Which I mentioned on your program in the past. Doing my Google Analytics during the campaign season, I clicked on to see what people were Googling to find information about my campaign. And there was folks Googling Tony Jones, RI naked. That does not give me a warm and fuzzy feeling.
But it just goes to show, what a different candidate you were. You were definitely outside the political. I don't think anybody was searching for Peter Kilmartin naked. Or
Yeah.
Dan McKee naked.
Cool.
Wait a minute, are you talking about my Mayor McCheese?
Your former Mayor McCheese.
Yeah.
Former Mayor McCheese. And our